So it's kind of rainy and gross, so we're trying to make this quick in and out of the trailer. It's just drizzling, but if it comes down harder, I'll shut the doors on it. Um, there's just too much crap in the way. So I think we take everything that we need for the car to run and move around, and that stays at the back of the trailer. So like subframes, bumper. Um, we don't need the dash. We'll need at least a driver's seat, probably both seats, just in case. Uh, we don't need a hood. Technically, don't need a windshield to get it running. It's not like we're going to be out on the road. We'll just drive it around the yard or whatever. But like this transmission, I might even try to get that whole engine in there. Let's move the hoist over and hoist it up in. So a little reorganization, I think, will go a long way, giving us the space that we need to continue working. So midway point, moved a lot of stuff around, piled interior stuff that we won't need for a long time in the back. You got the seats kind of propping the hood, and the hood stands off enough to protect stuff from falling on that glass. And then this kind of stuff can come inside and get ready to be cleaned up and prepped for when the engine goes in. And I need a little bit of thoughts about how to proceed here, because it'd be really nice to just do everything top to bottom. But I think we take like from this level down and it gets done. So we don't touch the rear seats, we don't touch doors, we don't touch the roof, because really, I mean, there's nothing rusting up there. It's okay. We do it around the windshield frame, we do the engine bay, we do the underbody. Kind of thinking we pull the rear axle out and pull the tank and that stuff and get under there, so just the whole underbody is done. It's going to be a pain in the butt, but it's so close, you just do it. And then foregoing any trunk, well, maybe we'll spray a trunk too. I don't know. From here down, right? So from here down, we'll take a good look and decide on some of this stuff. And I'm not the type to need it to be pretty right away either. So like little things like this in the shock tower, where it's like, oh, like there's a little bit of rust. Like I'm perfectly fine prepping that, spraying it with some urethane primer, and then waiting to do the whole trunk. Not to mention that that's going to be behind carpet anyway. So as long as the rust isn't coming back, I'm a happy guy. You know, it'll help keep things from getting much further out of control. Yeah, it's really starting to look pretty good. There's a lot of space left after consolidating like that. Yeah, wiring in two boxes stacked up, pretty easy to get to. I just noticed I've only got one door card still installed, so I think we just take that out because it'll be less to worry about when we go to spray on the interior. So then I could just leave the doors shut and kind of block off this area and spray it onto the garage without getting things all over. But maybe we'll roll it outside. That stuff can get pretty nasty. And then I don't think there's any reason to keep any part of the old exhaust, so that'll get put out in the old trash can in the parking lot. Yep, and this is just all the brakes and stuff, so they're easy to move around until I clean them up. Yep. Now we're gonna keep the engine in here because it gets to the point where if I don't put it at the very front of the trailer for it to sit for 10 years, it's just going to be a pain in the dick to work around it to get things back out. So we'll just leave it tucked in the corner with the new power washer and it'll be happy. So I started to wire wheel this one off, and you can see top and bottom where the original undercoating is starting to peel back. And none of that was in the center, it was just rusty. So with these holes drilled, that definitely tells me this is a piece that somebody put on this car, or it's the original one and they drilled through factory spot welds to fix whatever was inside and then put it back on and welded it in. Now, just looking at it and knowing that I wouldn't want to have to take this back apart tells me that it's probably strong enough that it's not something I'm going to worry about. We're still going to get a little scope and stick her up in the bolt hole and see how she goes, because that's, I mean, the bolt moves, it's inside its little captive thing in there, so it's possible that they either stripped or snapped and they put everything back together correctly. Just fine by me. I just want to make sure. There we go. Ground the welds down, get them flat so we can check them out. And there's no huge, I mean, other than that one, there aren't massive holes full of rust. It's not crumbling apart. There's plenty of clean metal underneath, so I think this will be fine. We'll still, like I said, check it on the inside of the scope, make sure there's nothing crazy looking going on in there. But it's one of those where if whoever did the repair had done this in the first place, before they painted back over it, there's a good chance nobody would ever know. Yeah, getting a start on the battery tray, and when you're trying to find these spot welds, grab your wire brush and come along and watch what the paint does. So if you go a little slow, you can see where there's dips where these welds are, and then get a nice bright light, and then even on the metal parts you can pretty much tell, like right there, it's pretty easy to see that weld as you go along. So it looks like quite a few left. There's one down here, but our tray only goes to here, so I think once we pop this one, this whole edge will get kind of flexy. We'll have to cut along that yellow line, and then this edge that has all of the sealant on it is going to be a pain in the butt, because those are all going to be spot welds too. Yeah, I don't want to cut it and butt weld the whole thing. Ow! I don't want to cut it and butt weld the whole thing. I want it to overlap like it did before, so that it's strong and looks good. Okay, it's getting there. I mean, it's certainly coming apart, and we got most of it. What I like to do, I don't like to bend the existing structure that we're keeping very much, but I'll poke a screwdriver in and kind of and see what moves and what doesn't. So clearly we got everything separated there. I got some stuff going on in this corner that I haven't been able to get to, but we're making it. So we got most of these. I think that a couple more holes definitely in there, and we'll be out. It's really close. I think, well, we don't need those to pry on it, but it looks like right up here, that one on the left is a lot bigger. It's just a lot bigger weld than it looked like when I drilled it. So I'll hit that some more. Hit this one on the top right that doesn't look like it's fully separated, and this might slide right up. Oh, so close. What's holding you in? So I can't tell what's still holding it, other than up here where it might be pinched. I really don't want to have to cut it. I'd like the new one to slide right in, and we can just weld right through the old holes. But maybe we just work a little bit of the pot. Found it. Look at it. There's one dirt ball right there underneath the coating. There's a one up here too. So there's another kind of pivoty. No, that might just be the glue. It might just be the glue. Yep. Another twisty bit. Woohoo! That feels good. They're such good friends. So now this one should kind of slip right in place. We'll clean everything up, but the idea is if I can pinch in there like the original, and we just weld through these holes. You know, the upside down ones will suck, but this will pop in and be really nice. So looks like it's going to be a pretty good fit. We got a little bit of a gap right now, so we'll need to clear this corner some so that this piece can push further in. And kind of pull that together, because the important part is this front is going to be where the fender screws in, and then there's some other junk that screws in there. I don't remember. There's a couple spots where we'll end up having to add nuts of our own, and I also want to make sure to see the proper way to kind of mess around underneath. So like there's a little bit of surface rust in here. We'll see what we can do something about. But once this is welded in place, I want to make sure that whatever we spray up in this channel is going to be effective in keeping it from rusting from the inside in the future. So I started cleaning this one side up by hand, just with some soapy water and a brass brush, because we're going to spray it. We don't care if it gets scuffed up. We want it scuffed up so that the coating sticks. But I'm going to run into issue where the factory undercoating is. This stuff is nasty, man. Like, I'm not going to be able to clean it out without damaging it. I don't necessarily want to paint over all that undercoating because, contrary to popular belief, the rubberized stuff that Volkswagen used in the 80s is amazing. I mean, anything that it's covered in just doesn't rust. You got to wear spots off with your tire from lowering your car too much, things like that. I'd really like to get my hands on some of it, but I don't know what it is. Now, that being said, this thing's really light. So the grand plan is to pick it up with my body and just walk it out into the driveway that's slippery with my flat shoes, because it seems like a really smart idea. I went ahead and moved the van because that thing that Audi got backed into by a boat trailer last year. Last year. Unfortunately, I was at a customer site, so the company that he worked for paid for a new bumper skin and paint, and was able to give the body shop extra money of my own to do the hood and the roof, which were the parts that took the brunt of the sun damage from being in the Southwest. So for 2011, it's really looking good, and I would hate to have the car slide into it after all that hard work. Not my hard work, but you know, hard-earned money. Okay, I think this is going to be actually work pretty well. So I got 2 boards out there as stops. So if I hit the first one and it bounces over because I'm wildly out of control, I can just drop the damn thing on the ground. Now, looking underneath, there's really nothing that, yeah, this one side's rusty. Hopefully it doesn't bend it or anything, but I think if we just set it down, it's going to set down on those tow hooks. And, you know, who cares? They should be fine. If they're not, we're already going to be peeling it apart and we'll just fix it. And then just to make sure we're safe, got safety wire to hold the wood up. So if I do need to set it down, take a break, find it's way heavier than I thought, we can go that route. So the plan is just grab this thing, huck it up in the air, and shuffle out into the driveway with it. The harder part will be pushing it back in uphill, but I think I can always make the wife come help me with that. So yeah, this way, it can only go away for me, right? If I stay on this side of the wood and it's too much, and I want to just be an idiot and let it go, it doesn't hurt me. That's all that really matters at this point. And I'm not too worried about it getting rained in. It's been, you know, it's clearly had enough water inside the last 30 years that today is not going to be the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah, so I think it wouldn't be fair to not show this happening in case there is some kind of catastrophic failure that we can laugh at. So I think, trying to get a good angle, maybe here, and just walk past. So we want to see everything, right? So we maybe, let's put it right up on this guy. Then you mostly can't see my face. You can only laugh at my body. Oh, you'd probably see my face in the reflection of the glass, so who cares? Just go for it. What's coming off on the right? Okay, so I was able to bring it back in. I left the jack stands right where they were, so I set right back down on its perches. We'll get my official wheel chocks back in place. Power washer works. It needs some carb work. It surges a lot. Maybe that's just inadequate water supply or something, or maybe there's some air in the lines, but it certainly kicks out a lot more pressure than the electric, so I really like it. But it didn't really touch the stuff. I got nice and close. I was able to get some to pop off. It's just greasy, nasty years of disgust. So it's coming along, but I think I might be doing myself a disservice. I mean, at this point, I have to, at least on this part, right? And although it's ugly, I get the feeling that this is some kind of wax they spray on at the factory, and then road stuff just kind of sticks to it, and you just kind of leave it there. I went over on this top part, you can see it's a little black, hit it with the map gas, and it wiped off super easy. So it's not like it's just dirt in the way it, yeah. So I almost wonder if I don't see rust, if I just leave this, since it's covered by the wheel arches and it took 30 years to get in this condition. There's a small part of me that wants to strip it all off and just do rhino liner, do like raptor liner, the urethane one, on everything. But how much extra work do I want if it's not going to make a difference either visually or structurally? I think thought number 2 here is that this is outside of the engine bay, right? We can access this just by removing the fender anytime we want and removing the wheel. Whereas the engine bay needs to be done before the engine goes in. The floor needs to be done before the seat goes back in, things to get it on the road. So maybe we just do minimums. We'll clean up stuff like this over there where we're doing our battery tray repair. We'll weld it up and we'll hit it with that urethane, and then start moving forward and get into the engine. And if we find we want to come back and bulk up those areas more, we can. I don't know. It'll take a little bit of thought.